Hi you guys, hope you're doing well, and I'm sure you're not expecting another video from me quite so soon, but I really feel that before our relationship gets more serious and more intense, I need to come clean and I need to out myself. Something you might not expect of me, something that isn't really political or doesn't really involve British culture, but I feel that I would be lying to you if I didn't take this moment to admit that I am a Swiftie. Yeah, I know. Who'd have thought it, right? But yes, I am a Taylor Swift fan. And in honor of her latest release, Life of a Showgirl, I am going to dedicate this video to Taylor Swift and a quirky British take on Taylor Swift lyrics as star signs, because I'm also into that as well. I know, I think I've just ruined it for quite a few of you. You have these expectations of me, but I think it's only fair that I really reveal my true self, and this is an important aspect of it. So if you're not a Swiftie, you don't have to watch this. If you're not into horoscopes, you don't have to watch this. And if you, quite frankly, are appalled by the fact that this is an aspect of my personality, you don't have to watch this. However, it's going to be a funny, tongue-in-cheek take. And why do I like Taylor Swift? Well, it obviously started in 2014 for me with her 1989 album release. Before then, I'd enjoyed, her songs as anybody else would, listening to them on the radio or seeing music videos. And, Love Story is probably the first song that I really liked of Taylor Swift. And I thought, oh, she's great. But she's, young teenager. She's probably a young starlet. Didn't really expect much. Loved, a couple of other singles like We Are Never Getting Back Together, Red. There's a few things that I really liked and enjoyed, but it was 1989 that really sealed the deal for me. And since then, I've absolutely loved Taylor Swift. I think she's a brilliant lyricist. I really think she's intelligent with her lyrics. Some of her songs really resonate with personal experiences. I mean, Folklore is a beautiful album. Evermore is a beautiful album. She can be pop, she can be folksy, she can be rocky, she can be country. I'm not a big fan of the country stuff, but I respect it. But yeah, I thought, why not let you in onto my little secret here, which isn't really a secret because I think anyone who knows me in real life knows that I'm a bit of a Swiftie. I'm not a diehard Swiftie, but I certainly enjoy her. And I feel like, yeah, why not share my little quirky inside thoughts on Taylor Swift lyrics as horoscopes and star signs. So that's what this video is going to be about. Probably not what we expect from this channel, but hey, what do we expect from this channel? Because we're all over the place with this, aren't we? And you might like this, you might not, but let's get into it. A little quirky British deep dive into Taylor Swift lyrics as star signs. Actually, it might be interesting. Do you think you can guess what star sign I am? Ooh. So we're going to start with Aries, and the lyric that I chose for this was "Ready for It" from Reputation, fire sign. And I feel that Aries thrive on adrenaline. They like to be busy, they like to be energized. And this lyric screams fearless energy and diving headfirst into challenges. And the Aries in my life often tend to do this. So I feel like it resonates quite considerably. Obviously, Reputation as an album is pretty fiery. And the era vibe for Reputation is dark, edgy, it's a lot of snake coded. And it was like, the new Taylor can't come to the phone right now because she's dead. And it is that phoenix rising from the flames. And I feel like, again, it's that kind of fiery Aries energy as well. So Taylor Swift's Ready for It from the Reputation era or album is our Aries lyric and personality. So this sign craves beauty, comfort, and sensual indulgence. They are an earth sign, and for them, I have chosen the lyrics "I want to stay in that lavender haze" from Lavender Haze from Midnights. So this is Taurus. I felt it had that Taurus, earthy, comfortable, reflective energy, which I certainly think Taurians bring to the table. And as an album, Midnights was released in October 21st of 2022. And again, it kind of was an album that was reflective in terms of key themes around self-reflection, love, regret, and those like nights where you don't get to sleep because you're thinking about something that's quite intense and on your mind. And I think the lyric of I Want to Stay in That Lavender Haze captures that kind of stability, coziness, and pleasure that a Tyrian would want. Tyrians seek that kind of a safe space, and I feel like that's definitely what this lyric represents and this lyric embodies. And Tyrians have always been kind of comfort and steady and kind of disciplined, but not quite as disciplined as maybe the Capricorn and the Virgo, which are also Earth energy on the horoscope. So that's what I've chosen for Tyrians. Do you agree? Do you believe that this represents you? Do you feel that you are a Lavender Haze lyrics? Feel free to put a comment down below or to challenge me on this. Let's have a look at the next one. So we're over to air now, and this air sign is Gemini. And sometimes people can consider Gemini two-faced, but I don't think that's what Gemini is. I think Gemini is adaptable and versatile and can kind of fit themselves into different aspects of lifestyles and groups of people, and that's what makes them kind of popular and fun and bubbly. So I have chosen from Folklore, I Can Change Everything About Me to Fit In, and I feel that is a Gemini, isn't it? So again, that fun, vibrant energy, of being adaptable, witty, and multifaceted. So obviously mirror balls are that way themselves, and it is a metaphor, isn't it? That's what Taylor Swift was writing about in the song. And I think that sums up the Geminis in my life. And I love a Gemini. I know some really great Geminis in real life, and I feel that they've just got this vibe and energy about them, and they always seem to be really popular. People always seem to want to hang out with them. And so, as I said, I can change everything about me to fit in. And I think that's it. That's what a Gemini brings to the table. So again, this is from the album Folklore, which was dropped in July of 2020, and people were completely surprised and hadn't expected it. It came in the middle of the pandemic. It was her folk indie album, and it was quite introspective and kind of personal and dealt with stories and narratives. It's a beautiful album. It's up there in one of my top 3. I mean, it could even be my favorite album. Sometimes when I'm in a very certain mood, I want to listen to Folklore, and it really just gets me. And so many of those songs are absolutely beautiful, and they often drift in and out of my head. So I just think there's something really beautiful about it. And I also felt that this was that Gemini energy, airy, breezy, kind of fun, kind of playful, shimmery, can't quite grasp it. So this was our lyric from Mirrorball. I Can Change Everything About Me to Fit In, for our Geminis out there. So we're in the water signs now, and I've kind of subverted expectations here by picking a song that I think itself is a metaphor of a Sagittarian, but we are not going for the metaphor of Sagittarian here. We're going to talk about Cancer, that deep, sensitive, reflective sign. Cancers feel everything. They're very empathetic. They're very in depth and in tune. They can be a protector. They can be very vulnerable. They can be quite maternal. And I feel like the lyric that I've chosen captures the emotional intensity of cancers and actually the duality within them. So the lyric I've gone for is, I've been the archer, I've been the prey. And this is from, obviously, Lover. Now, the archer would be typically the Sagittarius, and we know that Taylor Swift is a Sagittarian herself. But I feel that that's how a Cancer feels sometimes. They can be the emotional, vulnerable one that can tap into things and feelings that people have, but also themselves can be feeling the kind of victim of other people's emotions. And so that's why I chose this lyric for our sensitive and thoughtful Cancerians down there. And Cancerians are beautiful souls. They want to care. They are caregivers. They can have a protective element to them as well. Obviously, symbolic of the crab in the shell. So definitely a lyric that I thought resonated with our Cancerians. And Lover itself was an album that was released in August of 2019. It was Taylor Swift's 7th album release and was kind of reflecting a celebration of love, not just romantic love, but platonic love and self-love, and again deals with heartbreak and identity and loving ourselves. So again, I feel like this sort of resonates a bit with that water sign energy, and in this case the Cancer, because they've been the archer. I've been the prey. They've been both. They can identify with both perspectives. And this is what makes our cancers so sensitive and thoughtful and interesting. So we're back with the fire signs, and this fire sign has massive energy because that's what the fire signs have. They're radiant, they're dramatic, and they love the spotlight. In fact, sometimes maybe considered a bit egocentric, but I like to think of them as determined and kind of grabbing the attention, and people want to give this star sign their attention. And this star sign is Leo. And the lyric that was probably what inspired this was I was listening to this song, heard this lyric, and I thought, oh, that just sums up Leo energy. So can you guess what it is? It's actually from Endgame, which is another Reputation song. And it's Big Reputation, you and me. We got big reputations. And I think that's it. It's a bit kind of like chanting and inviting people in to kind of observe this kind of strength and ego and dominance that a Leo can have. And the lyric nails their magnetic presence and their larger than life vibe, because you know a Leo when you see one. They're kind of magnetizing, and you can't help but be compelled to observe them and sort of shine in their glow. Equally, you don't want to be on the wrong side of a Leo. And I just think that this lyric absolutely summed it up. And as I said, it was what kind of started me off on this, Taylor Swift lyrics as star signs idea that I very randomly had. So as I said, Reputation was Taylor Swift's 2017 kind of Phoenix album. She'd been hidden away. It ended up selling 1.12 million copies in the first week in the USA. So it was a very, big, strong album. And the theme was reinvention, revenge, considering and reflecting on media backlash. And I think, starting to play that game with the media that Taylor Swift is so good at. But it's also one of her most romantic albums, and perhaps reflected a time when she was busy falling in love and enjoying her life and maybe being away from the spotlight as well. So yeah, absolutely. Big Reputation, you and me, we got a big reputation, is bringing Leo vibes to the table. And this is our fire sign Leo choice. I'm probably being really annoying in this video because I keep sort of like moving around and like trying to get my seating right, and I can't get comfortable. I'm a bit fidgety tonight, so sorry about that. We're just gonna have to endure. Yay. So where are we next? Well, we're back with the earth signs and the Virgo vibes. I love me a Virgo man. I love me a Virgo woman. I like Virgos. I'm not a Virgo, so I'm just going to clarify that. But I did used to think I resonated with them until I kind of got to know my own star sign and my birth chart, and I learned about my moon, and I learned about my rising, and I started to learn about placements for those of us that are a bit geeky into horoscopes. And it kind of made me realize why I liked Virgos quite so much, and why I seem to really enjoy them. So hi to all my Virgo friends out there, of which there are many. So a Virgo, they are detail orientated, they're perfectionists. They can have a cool kind of undertone to them, but I actually think they've got a soft, sensitive belly. They can be very pragmatic, and as we've said, they can be a little bit critical, but actually not in a damaging way, in a way of maybe wanting things to be and perform at their best. So bearing this in mind, I chose from the Midnight album and from the song Bejeweled, I polish up real nice, because that's what our little Virgo friends do. They are refined, perfect, and like to shine when they're needed. And I felt like that lyric absolutely resonates with their ordered, their kind of pristine nature. So again, this is for Midnights, which was another introspective album by Taylor Swift. And the aesthetic of this was cosmic vibes, kind of a bit of a 70s feel, and kind of that glitter and midnight blue. And, thinking about those long nights where you're reflecting on your past and the choices that you've made. And Bejeweled is a beautiful song, polish up real nice is, a bit of a threat, isn't it? Like, you don't underestimate me. I can look at my absolute best with or without your care and attention. And again, I think that's a Virgo. They're quiet in the background, but you can't underestimate them. They're quite resilient. They're quite strong. So this is our Virgo choice from Bejeweled and the Midnights album. So, air signs, and we're here at Libra. We love a Libra. They're balanced, aren't they? And they come across very dainty and elegant and kind of demure, but underneath there is definitely that sternness to them that you don't want to get on the wrong side of. And Libras are ruled by Venus, which is a sign dictated by love. And there's a lot of romance and charm and aesthetics. It's about how things look and presenting and being pretty. And the lyric that I've chosen reflects this flirtatious, ever charming energy. And along with the Leo, this was the second lyric that I automatically thought of. I was like, this is Libra vibes. Because sometimes us Librans don't quite always know exactly who or what we're trying to be. I might have just outed myself there. So the lyric I went for is from the album 1989 and the single Blank Space. And I chose the lyric, I could be that girl for a month, because that's such a Libra thing, be what you want for a month and then flip the script, because that's what they do, don't they? Try to please the person that they're in love with, and I'm probably gonna get loads of Libras coming at me going, no, that's not what we do. But as I've said, Librans are all about romance and balance and diplomacy and kind of meeting people on their level. And I think that's what we do as Librans. We kind of fit to kind of the person that we're in all of, or whether we're romantically with them or friends, we can kind of fit, which I suppose ties into that mirror ball kind of metaphor that we said for Gemini. So maybe these air signs just tend to have that breeziness of making the people around them feel kind of comfortable and adapting to them. So maybe on a broader spectrum, that's what that is. But yeah, definitely that charm, flirtatious, but also being able to flip the script and show you that ruthless side. And I think that's the thing about Librans as well. They're a certain way for a certain point, and then there's only so long that their kindness and sweetness can be full before it just literally disappears and you get to meet the cold shoulder of them. So, Blank Space, 1989. So we're here with the water signs now, and this is Scorpio, and we have kept with 1989, and we have kept with the song Blank Space, not Black Space, Blank Space. So can you guess what the lyric is for Scorpio? So Scorpios are intense, they're sexy, mysterious, magnetic, and sometimes really intimidating. Actually, I have been friends with some Scorpios and they can be ruthless as well, and you can really not want to anger them. Do not anger the beast. They have a sting to their tail, a bit like the scorpion that represents them. And the lyric that I've chosen, I think, is symbolic of their allure and their intensity. So the lyric that I went for from Blank Space is, Darling, I'm a nightmare dressed as a daydream. Because quite frankly, what does that say? That means I am appealing, I will be magnetic, I will get you interested. But equally, if you do not do as you're supposed to and behave in the way that you're supposed to around me, then I will flip that script and I will become the nightmare. So absolutely feel that those dark energy vibes. I mean, let's face it, Scorpios do have such a severeness to them. There's a quiet rage within them, passion as well. Some of the most passionate people I know are Scorpios. And some of the funniest and most loyal actually people that I've ever met have been Scorpios as well. So I feel like the intensity of the Blank Space song and this lyric really sums up those Scorpio vibes. And again, 1989 was the album that I said did it for me. And it was kind of unapologetically, pop, wasn't it? And Taylor sort of went in a different direction than what she'd done in the previous years, and she was going for kind of bold, youthful, vibrant, and revealing more of her quirky personality and more of her kind of lived experience, which is a phrase I love to use. But I definitely think that's what Blank Space sums up, and I think it's an amazing song. And I feel that, yeah, that is definitely Scorpio vibes. I'm a nightmare dressed like a daydream. So let me know, Scorpios, do you agree with this? Does this sum up your dark energy? Equally, we could have gone for something from, Reputation, maybe something like Are You Ready for It? There was definitely a couple of choices here for our little Scorpio Scorpios, but actually I feel like this gets that sting in the tail energy that Scorpio has. I'm not entirely sure what's going on with my hair, but we're just along for the ride, aren't we? So we'll just let it do what it's going to do and hope it figures it out sooner rather than later. So fire sign again, and probably the most significant sign, because our lady herself, Taylor Swift, is this star sign, and it is Sagittarius. I'm raising a Sagittarius. They're fun. They really are. I love them. So Sagittarians are adventurous, jokey, truth tellers, wild spirits, and eternal optimists. And I suppose this embodies all of the things that Taylor Swift herself is. Performers, they can sit in the center of the attention and manage it. Natural performers, for the Sagittarians that I know, kind of that warmth to them that can be quite, again, enigmatic and mysterious. As the playfulness, the tongue-in-cheek aspect of them, and they are bold and cheeky and quite probably impossible to ignore. I think a Sagittarian, and they just have a vibrance to them that's just appealing. And so the lyric that I chose for this was from the Tortured Poets Department, because I feel that was an album where Taylor Swift herself poured a lot of her soul into it. Not that she hasn't always been doing that, but that was a rant album. And I don't mean like ranty, but it was like a massive catharsis. She took everything out in that, didn't she? Had gone through some stuff and she was like, right, here we go. I'm just going to dump it here and I'm going to process it. It was like a therapy album and I loved it. And the lyric that I chose is, "Who's afraid of little old me?" Because I think that sums up a Sagittarius, doesn't it? Like, are you afraid of a Sagittarius? Not directly, but you should be, because you're never quite sure what you're going to get, and you can get different aspects of them at any point of the day, really, and they can't be tamed. They are free, chaotic, and passionate, and I think that is definitely what our Sagittarians bring to the table. And the Tortured Poets Department was released in April of 2024, and it was a sprawling double album, because when you add the anthology to it, there were 31 songs. As I've said, it was like a therapizing album, and it broke Spotify records. And there was that vintage black and white feel to it, that poet, the tortured aspect of it, grief and glamour, and that kind of somberness to it. But then glimpses of the optimism that we would expect in the Taylor Swift lyrics that we know. So absolutely think, Who's Afraid of Little Old Me is a song about rage and mockery. And I feel like that is definitely embodying the Sagittarius, that quirky, chaotic, vibrant, fun energy that can also be honest and wild and optimistic and adventurous. So that's what I chose for us Sagittarians out there. Okay, so back to the earth signs, and we've arrived at Capricorn. Ooh, Capricorns, they're a good one. I love a Capricorn, and they're just steely, aren't they? They are methodical. They could be serial killers. They're not, though. They're just, again, I'm going to use that word, intensity. They're ambitious, they're strategic, and there's a power to a Capricorn. You just feel that power kind of emanating from them, and Capricorns just have something so solid and steady about them. And if you have Capricorn placements, you might find that you have this within your own personality and you feel that kind of strength, because I think Capricorns are strong. They're prepped for a fight if they need to. There can be that icy determination and that ability to survive and thrive and to rise above. And so I went back to Midnights for this, and I thought about which song lyrics kind of embody the Capricorn energy for me. And I arrived at Vigilante from Midnights. And the lyric that I thought really summed up that steely Capricorn power was, "I don't dress for women, I don't dress for men. Lately, I've been dressing for revenge." And I think it just strategically captures the energy of a Capricorn, because quite frankly, they don't care what you think. They're going to do them, and they're going to do it with style and finesse and a quiet determination. and you're not going to get in their way, and you won't want to get in their way. You'll probably actually want to watch them execute what they're going to execute really well. And that Capricorn energy is just amazing. So yeah, absolutely fabulous. So Vigilante Midnights is our Capricorn choice. So we're coming towards the end of our little horoscope journey. 2 more to go. And we've arrived on another air sign, the Aquarian, the water bearer, the intense, abstract thinker with a quirkiness to them that no other star sign tends to have. Aquarians are often visionaries with razor sharp intelligence, memory for details, and injustices, a heightened sense of justice usually. And the lyric I've chosen, I feel, mirrors their intensity when reflecting with the past and ruminating on things and considering, journeys and experiences. So we went to Red for this, and it's the 10-minute version, All Too Well. And I remember it all too well. And that kind of reflective, I've used this word so much, but obviously I just think that is what an Aquarius would do. Aquarians are introspective, and I feel that they have an ability to distance themselves from things, and there can be that kind of, I've used the word enigmatic already, but yeah, an enigmatic, mysterious detachment to them. And I feel that they can look back on something and reflect on it and maybe not feel the emotional connection, maybe the way that other people will, and they can kind of be more pragmatic about it. And obviously, Red hasn't featured yet as an album, but it was released in October of 2012, and it was an album that was thinking about passion and devastation and nostalgia, and that sort of early 20s experience that Taylor Swift herself went through. And it actually cemented Taylor as a bit of a pop powerhouse and kind of maybe brought her to more prominent attention in the pop mainstream than maybe some of her more country songs had. And it started to have a less country feel to it than maybe previous releases had. And the aesthetic for this were autumn leaves, that scarlet lipstick, that red lip that seems to be becoming very synonymous with Taylor, cozy scarves, city streets, and Polaroids of heartbreak. So I remember it all too well, that kind of wistful, reflective kind of energy and detachment that only an Aquarius would be able to bring to their memories or their thoughts on something that they remember all too well. So our last star sign, the thoughtful, sensitive, deep Pisces. The final sign is a water sign. And the lyric I've chosen, I think, reflects the nostalgic, innocent, and deeply emotional aspect that a Piscean has. Like their other water signs, they can be very sensitive, and they carry every past love, every dream, every scar, and kind of have their hearts on their sleeves, don't they? They turn pain into poetry. Pisces is the old soul of the zodiac, and you feel that when you encounter a Piscean. They have a depth to them that is probably only kind of matched maybe by a Aquarius. They can romanticize far more than a Libra, and they can drift between fantasy and reality, but somehow always managing to see the beauty in the bittersweet. Pisces feel emotions like tidal waves, don't they? And they can bring a full range of emotions. They're poetic and tragic. And the lyric that I've chosen kind of reflects this. Again, I'm going to use the word whimsical. And I've gone to folklore for this one, and one of my favourite songs, which is Cardigan, which is a beautiful song. And the lyrics, I knew everything when I was young, because I think it sums up the fact that this Piscean remembers when they were young and this sense of knowing and intuition, but actually it's now that they look back that they can realize that maybe they didn't know as much as they did. So again, really beautiful lyric, and I think sums up the sensitive, thoughtful, reflective nature of the Pisceans, who feel so intensely and so deeply and wear their hearts on their sleeve, but can also feel that old soul kind of knowledge coming through. So obviously Folklore is a storytelling album, and I suppose that whimsical nature of a Piscean I feel is also contained within the album Folklore itself, and therefore is a perfect fit for our Pisceans. So that is the full range, guys. I've gone through all of the horoscopes, all the 12 signs. Do you agree with my choices? Do you think that I have matched lyrics to the personas of our astrological signs? Do you think that I captured your star sign well? Maybe I did, maybe I didn't. Feel free to add a comment or a thought below. I'm going to leave it there for now because I feel like this video has been just a little thoughtful, fun, fruity deep dive and reflects the quirky, fun nature that we're trying to have on this channel. So let me know your thoughts. It's been a pleasure sharing my Taylor Swift love and passion with you, and I look forward to seeing you next time. Ta for now. Bye.